You are carrying an old workshop inside you, a secret place where raw impulses, fractured memories, and restless longings are hoarded like flammable coal. It's not a myth. It's not merely poetic language. There's a forge inside the human heart and mind, and when the right sparks fall, it can melt the familiar into something unfamiliar and radiant. Imagine a hidden recipe for transformation, an inner practice that has been visited by seekers across continents and centuries. Imagine a method for turning your inner lead, those fears, doubts, regrets, and secret hungers, into gold, a gold that is not metal but clarity, creativity, and power of choice. Tonight, we open that workshop. We will touch tools that feel ancient, symbols that hum with meaning, and methods that move the soul. If you are someone who studies the mind, who leans into the uncomfortable, who wants to grow, listen closely. This is the alchemy of the soul. This video is an invitation, not to superstition, not to ritual for its own sake. This is an invitation to look at certain ancient practices as psychological technologies, deliberate, repeatable methods to change how you feel, think, and act. We will explore a body of wisdom that once moved through mystery schools and small circles of practitioners, a wisdom that used symbols, correspondences, and inner practices to guide transformation. Today, we distill its essence for the modern seeker. Why should this interest you? Because personal change is rarely random. Sudden insight sometimes appears, but most lasting transformation happens by pattern, by learning how to notice, how to move energy, how to redirect forces inside you. The traditions we will examine do not promise miracles. They outline processes, diagnosis, containment, transformation, and integration. In psychological language, they offer a map for confronting hidden parts of yourself, harnessing creative drives, and reconfiguring the habits that have held you small. We will not cite scripture, and we will avoid heavy dogma. Instead, we will translate the core practices into modern psychological terms and practical exercises you can apply. Expect stories, metaphors, and concrete steps. Expect to be challenged. Expect to be invited to experiment. If you are serious about self-development, this is a pathway worth walking. At the heart of this tradition is a refractory idea that inner change can be engineered by working with correspondences. Correspondences are symbolic links between internal states and external rights. They are tools for focusing attention. Imagine that certain symbols act like levers. When you focus on image, a sound, or a ritual move, your mind, which is a pattern-seeking machine, aligns its hidden dynamics with that focus. The result is a measurable shift in mood or orientation. This is not magical thinking if you approach it methodically. Consider how music alters your mood instantly, or how lighting changes your sense of space. Symbols and rituals do the same thing for the psyche. They tighten attention, they reroute energy, they create new neural patterns. Centuries ago, practitioners used symbolic correspondences, planets, metals, colors, phrases, particular postures, as a language to speak directly to the mind's subterranean networks. Today, we call that language cognitive framing, emotional priming, and somatic anchoring. There is also a moral component. Many of these teachings insist that transformation is not mere acquisition of power. It is a discipline. Without ethical grounding, the techniques can amplify vanity, cruelty, or avoidance. So we will examine both the technique and the heart that guides it. Key ideas you will hear throughout this video. The self is layered. You have public behaviors, private thoughts, and hidden complexes that act as engines. Transformation happens most effectively when all layers are addressed together. Symbols are tools. An image, a posture, or a short ritual phrase can reconfigure internal states. Practice over time matters. Real alchemy is gradual. It involves repetition, refinement, and compassionate honesty. Integration is the final test. A change that isolates you from others or causes harm is not mature transformation. Before you can transform anything, you must know what is there. The first stage is diagnosis. Imagine your mind as an old house with rooms that have never been opened. Some rooms are tidy. Others are piled high with furniture you inherited or items you never chose. Some rooms exhale cold drafts of shame. Others contain flickering lamps of desire. A practical diagnostic exercise. Begin a calm account of your recurrent inner states. For 10 minutes, without judgment, List the emotions and reactions that arrive most often in tense situations: irritation, shame, envy, competitiveness, despair. After the list, place each item on a 3-point scale: frequency, intensity, and cost. Frequency measures how often it appears. Intensity measures how strong it is. Cost measures the damage it causes to your goals or relationships. This mapping is not a moral inventory. It is a hygiene check. When you know what recurs, you can assign practices to address it. Different problems require different tools. A simmer of low-level anxiety responds to breathing and containment. A recurring rage may require a different procedure, including imaginative dialogue and expressive works. A persistent creative blockage may require ritualized permission to play, the habit circuit. Psychologically, habitual patterns form neural circuits. Repeated thoughts and actions wire pathways. To alter a habit, you need to weaken a regular input to that circuit and introduce consistent new input that diverges from the old route. Symbolic practices help because they introduce strong, novel input while allowing you to engage emotionally. The novelty boosts learning signals in the brain, centering in the making of an inner laboratory. Establishing a physical or temporal ritual space primes the mind for laboratory-like focus. This can be as simple as lighting a candle and sitting for 5 minutes with your journal. The point is to signal to your nervous system, now we experiment. Over time, the presence of that ritual, light, posture, minimal sounds, becomes a contextual cue that lowers reactivity and increases curiosity. Now we move into practices. Each of these is described as an internal technique adapted from perennial symbolic methods. They are presented in neutral, psychological language and designed to be safe and adaptable. 1. The Confrontation Exercise Shadow Encounter. Purpose: to identify and progressively engage hidden aspects that influence your behavior. Method: find a quiet place and sit upright. Set a timer for 10 to 15 minutes. Bring to mind a recurring behavior or reaction you dislike. Attend to feelings associated with it, images, body sensations, and impulses. Give the experience a neutral label, for example, the protective rush or the tightening knot. Imagine the feeling as a figure or presence, not to anthropomorphize in a delusional way, but to externalize it for observation. Ask inside your mind, what do you want? What do I need to know about you? Let answers come as images, bodily shifts, or a sentence. Before ending the session, thank the presence for its attempted service, and imagine putting it in a safe compartment for later work. Psychological rationale. Externalizing a pattern reduces fusion, the tendency to feel that you're the feeling. Naming and dialoguing with it increases cognitive distance, and that distance supports choice. Progression. Start with short sessions. Document what arises. Over weeks, you will find clearer patterns, triggers, and sometimes surprising strengths hidden inside the resistance. 2. The Correspondence Practice, Symbolic Reframing. Purpose: to use sensory anchors to shift emotional valence. Method: choose a personal symbol that feels meaningful but neutral, an object, color, or natural image, a stone, a bird, a particular hue. Assign to that symbol a reoriented quality you want to cultivate. For example, resilience, tempered courage, lucidity. Create a brief ritual. For 2 minutes each morning, hold a chosen object or focus on the color, breathe slowly, and silently repeat a short phrase that frames a quality. Not a quotation, but a compact personal phrase, e.g., I clear and steady my view. When stress appears during the day, recall the symbol for 10 to 30 seconds and breathe with it. Psychological rationale. This practice uses associative learning. By consistently pairing the symbol with the desired quality, you form a conditioned response that can interrupt old automatic reactions. 3. The Threshold Meditation. Ritualize facing a fear. Purpose: to build tolerance and transform avoidance into contained exposure. Method: visualize a threshold or doorway in a calm setting. Imagine the fear or difficult feeling waiting beyond this threshold. Walk toward the threshold step by step. At each step, note a bodily sensation or a thought that arises. When you step through, do not expect the fear to vanish. Instead, practice observing it closely for a fixed interval, 1 to 3 minutes, breathing steadily. Step back through and close the threshold. Journal the encounter succinctly. Psychological rationale. This is structured exposure combined with mindful observation. By ritualizing the approach in return, you train the nervous system to tolerate the presence of difficult states without being overwhelmed. For the creative transmutation, channel the energy. Purpose, to convert intense effect into symbolic output. Method, when a strong feeling arises, anger, grief, longing, do not suppress it. Allocate 5 minutes to create something quickly, a sketch, a stream of consciousness paragraph, a short percussion rhythm, or an odd gesture sequence. The rule, produce, then discard or keep. No editing during those 5 minutes. After creation, label what emerged, what emotion was the engine, what metaphor occurred. Psychological rationale. Creativity is a safe outlet when practiced with minimal judgment. Rapid production bypasses censoring circuits and channels raw energy into form, making it transformable. 5. The mirror task, integrative noticing. Purpose, to identify projections and reclaim disowned parts. Method, stand before a mirror for 3 minutes. Look at your eyes. In a calm voice, say one sentence about yourself that is already true but sensitive. For example, I sometimes avoid conflict out of fear of being disliked. Notice the impulse to defend, to justify, to change the sentence. Note where you feel heat, contraction, or denial. Write down the resistance without commentary. Psychological rationale. Projection lives in the zone of denial. Seeing your reflected face while naming a vulnerability reduces defensiveness and increases acceptance. Ambient discomfort is an index of material worth integrating. Symbols function because they condense complexity into a single focal point. When selected carefully, a symbol can carry multiple meanings simultaneously, and the mind naturally fills the symbol with personal content. Below are common symbolic archetypes and how to use them psychologically. 1. The stone or metal, grounding and refinement. Use. Carry or gaze a small stone to center. Imagine the stone absorbing scattered impulses. Metals like iron or copper in imagery can connote resilience or conductivity. Practice. Hold a stone during a minute of slow breathing to anchor scattered attention. 2. The mirror, self-examination, and projection work. Use short mirror tasks as above for honest seeing. Avoid using full-length mirror marathons that intensify dysphoria. Keep sessions brief and curious. 3. The ladder or stair, gradual ascent. Use. Visualize steps to represent incremental work. When feeling overwhelmed, imagine removing a single step through the single action. The ladder image turns overwhelming goals into manageable tasks. 4. The key and lock, permission and opening. Use. Imagine a lock that secures a felt block. Practice a small unlocking ritual, imagining turning a key, to rehearse permission to access an internal resource. 5. The vessel, containment, capacity, and refinement. Use. Imagine placing raw feelings into a vessel and stirring them with a attentive breath. The vessel metaphor encourages containment rather than dissociation. 6. The flame, transformation and discernment. Use. Short breathing with the image of small flame helps with mental clarity. Beware. Flame imagery can intensify passion. Use with conscious boundaries. Applying correspondences in practice. Pick one symbol per week. Make it the anchor for a small set of exercises. Morning focus, midday recall, and evening reflection. Over time, you'll notice networks of meaning forming, and the symbol will gain personalized potency. Rituals are sequences that combine movement, breath, and attention. When simple and consistent, they produce measurable neurobiological effects, decrease stress reactivity, increase attentional control, and a strengthened sense of agency. Designing a safe personal ritual. Elements to include a clear beginning signal, lighting a candle, a single breath. A short focus period, 3 to 10 minutes, with a single method, movement, breath counting, or writing. A concluding action that grounds you back into ordinary life. Sample daily mini ritual, 15 minutes. Begin. Take 3 slow breaths, hands placed at the heart. Centering. 5 minutes slow breathing, while focusing on a single symbol chosen for the week. Confrontation, 5 minutes gentle shadow exercise. Name one recurring reaction and imagine dialogue with it for 2 minutes. Integration, 3 minutes, write one sentence, noting what you intend to try differently today. Why this works. The consistency produces context-dependent changes in reactivity. The ritual trains anticipatory regulation. When the beginning signal appears, your body and mind prepare to shift. Repetition consolidates new patterns. Set aside a longer session, once a week for deeper exploration. Opening, an extended centering 10 minutes. Mapping, review your diagnostic notes and select a pattern 10 minutes. Active practice, do a 15 to 20 minute correspondences or creative transmutation exercise with deliberate intensity. Closing, write reflections and one practical experiment for the coming week. Transformation is not only an interior shift, it eventually seeks expression. The creative dimension of this work is crucial. When you invite your shadow into the workshop, it offers raw material, tension, urgency, imagination that can fuel art, problem-solving, and ethical courage. From pain to grammar, transmuting effect into meaning. When you convert intense feeling into a work, a poem, an image, a physical practice, you create a grammar that can be observed, shared, and discussed. This process externalizes inner states in ways that allow others to see and respond. It is, psychologically, a process of narrative reauthoring. Practical creativity prompts. Take an uncomfortable emotion. Spend 5 minutes making the ugliest, rawest sketch of that emotion. Then spend 5 minutes refining it into something legible. Compose a 2-sentence scene in which your difficult feeling is the protagonist. Put it in the third person, distance breeds insight. Make a 1-minute sound piece using only household objects. Let the rhythm mirror the intensity you felt, then slow it down. Sharing and caution. Sharing creative products can be liberating, but also risky. Before posting a raw piece publicly, ask, does this help me integrate, or does it seek validation? If the latter, consider sharing with a safe circle first. Every psychological technology carries moral responsibility. Techniques that increase power, boldness, or intensity can be carved toward constructive or destructive ends. Common pitfalls. Narcissistic inflation. Using practices to magnify grandiosity rather than humility. Avoidant spiritualizing. Treating techniques as escapes from real relational work. Over-identification with persona. Becoming proud of being a transformer rather than quietly changing. Guidelines for responsible practice. Keep humility at the center. Reorientation is about service to truth, not performance. Test changes in relationships. Growth that harms others indicates incomplete work. Maintain grounding practices. Sleep, movement, social contact, and professional help as needed when to seek professional support. If deep trauma or severe affective disturbance emerges during practice, pause and consult a trained therapist. The practices here are safe for exploratory work, but they are not a substitute for clinical care. To make this practical, imagine 3 archetypal journeys. These are composite portraits designed to illustrate how inner work may look when practiced consistently. Case 1, a perfectionist. Background, a person who grew up receiving praise only for flawless performance. Their inner life is a loop. Fear of failure, overwork, exhaustion, hidden self-loathing. Approach, diagnostic mapping to reveal triggers. Confrontation practice to externalize the critic. Correspondence anchor, a small pebble representing enoughness. Creative transmutation, 5-minute poems of failure as material. Outcome, over months, the inner critic softens. Small acts of deliberate imperfection are tolerated and even chosen. Case 2, the repressed artist. Background, a person who had early pressure to choose safety over creativity. They now feel a dull ache and occasional bursts of envy. Approach, threshold meditation to approach creative fear. Short daily playful rituals, 10 minutes of unstructured making. Mirror task to name avoidance patterns. Outcome, gradual permission. Public sharing in safe spaces. Increase sustained creative practice. Case 3, the reactive leader. Background, an individual in a leadership role who tend to blame others under stress. Approach, mapping of projections and public triggers. Weekly ritualized pause before big decisions. Correspondence practice, linking a metal symbol to tempering impulses. Accountability partner to check assumptions. Outcome, improve listening. Reduce scapegoating, better team outcomes. These cases are not formulas. They show how practices combine and require continuity. If you want an applied program, here is a scaffold 90-day plan. The aim is not to fix everything, but to create a reliable process. Phase 1, weeks 1 to 3, mapping ground. Daily, 5 minutes of morning symbol focus. Evening 2-minute journaling on triggers. Weekly, 1 30-minute diagnostic mapping session. Goal, identify 3 recurring patterns. Phase 2, weeks 4 to 7, targeted interventions. Assign 1 technique to each pattern: confrontation, correspondence, threshold. Daily, 10 minutes of assigned practice. Weekly, 45-minute ritual session with creative transmutation. Goal, produce 1 small creative artifact per week. Phase 3, weeks 8 to 12, integration and social testing. Introduce external accountability, a trusted friend or small group. Share 1 artifact or finding publicly in a low-stakes place. Continue daily rituals. Add a weekly review where you adjust practices. Goal, observe measurable shifts in reactivity and creative output. Maintenance. After 90 days, maintain morning and evening micro-rituals and schedule a monthly longer session. Keep a simple log. Triggers noticed, interventions used, results. Why do these methods resonate with modern psychology? Because they exploit core human capacities: attention, narrative, somatic anchoring, and social feedback. Cognitive therapy leverages reframing. Body-based practices use somatic regulation. Narrative therapies use reauthoring. The traditions we drew from use symbolic language to accomplish similar ends. Viewed through a scientific lens, many of these techniques work by altering attentional bias, reinforcing new behavior via repetition, and creating meaning that guides action. Skepticism is healthy. Not every symbol will work for every person. The task is experimental. Try, measure, adjust. If a ritual or symbol causes dysphoria or increased avoidance, stop it. If an exercise opens new pathways, tune it. Transformation can be solitary work, but it matures in relationship. Community provides mirrors, limits, and reality checks. Seek a small circle of serious practitioners or a therapist familiar with symbolic and depth-oriented work. Beware groups that replace accountability with dogma. Consider also the question of power. As you refine emotional capacities, your presence changes. People may respond differently. Use increased capacity ethically. To listen more, not to dominate. To clarify rather than obscure. Closing practices. 3 micro-routines you can start tonight. 1. Night end reclamation, 3 minutes. Light a small lamp. Name 1 tiny concession you made to fear today. Imagine returning that concession to yourself tomorrow with a plan. 2. Morning compass, 2 minutes. Hold the chosen symbol and breathe. State, silently, 1 intention for how you will act differently. 3. Midday checkpoint, 1 minute. Pause and ask, what am I avoiding? Note it and do 1 small corrective. Conclusion, closing and call to deeper work, final minutes. The path we have discussed is not glamour. It is a set of experiments in inner hygiene. The ancient imagery that inspired these methods is not a relic, but a repository of tried approaches for shaping attention and meaning. You do not need to adopt any label or ritual wholesale. Pick what resonates, test it, and be ready to abandon it if it is not serving you. If this material moved you, here are 3 invitations. Try 1 technique for 7 days and keep a brief journal of the results. Share in the comments 1 small change you intend to make. Accountability changes behavior. Parting reflection. Inside your chest there are rooms with old furniture and unopened windows. Do not rush to demolish or redecorate. Walk in slowly. Turn on a lamp. Listen to the creaks. Some rooms will need a gentle hand in time. Others will want a complete rearrangement. The alchemy of the soul is not about instant transmutation into mythic gold. It is about patient, curious work, shaping attention, tempering reaction, and converting raw material into meaning. Go now and begin a small experiment. Open for 5 minutes, a small journal, and name the single feeling that comes when you imagine living more honestly. That is your starter material. Guard it, work with it, transform it. Subscribe and come back. There's more to practice, and the workshop inside you is waiting.